This game was absolutely insane to witness as a Boston Celtics fan, as we got to see the Celtics absolutely erupt in a fourth quarter barrage led by Derrick White, Jayson Tatum, and this Celtics squad as they were short-handed in tonight's contest with no Jrue Holiday, no Al Horford, no Luke Cornett, and no Kristaps Porziņģis in a late game scratch. So we'll be diving in and looking at how Joe Mazzulla was able to strategize with this Celtics core to win a game short-handed versus the Toronto Raptors, go over a little bit of a Jaylen Brown update, and much more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz, and you guys have been absolutely fantastic showing your love and support on the channel, which has been super, super appreciative over these last couple weeks. I do want to say a huge shout out goes to you guys for always tuning in and letting us know your thoughts down below in the comment section. So let us know what you ultimately think about this Celtics video, and come by in tomorrow's stream to come get by on our weekly dosage of Celtics news, answering every Celtics question before they take on the Pistons tomorrow. But before we get into all that, let's get into the video at hand today. So make sure to grab that snack. And like I mentioned in the introduction, this was amazing to witness here tonight as the Boston Celtics won a huge game shorthanded. Like I mentioned in the introduction, no Jrue Holiday, no Kristaps Porziņģis, no Al Horford, and no Luke Cornett tonight, as Kristaps Porziņģis was a late game scratch. But the other three guys were announced earlier today that they will not be playing. Tillman and Queta were back, and with no Kristaps Porziņģis, we got to see the starting of Torrey Craig, and we'll get into what Torrey Craig was able to do for the Celtics in a little bit. But the Celtics won this game 111-101 versus a Raptors team, one where they got absolutely decimated when they played in this building not too long ago, just a month ago. So it was a nice little of a wake-up call and a rebound game here for the Celtics. And the Celtics were very, very solid throughout this game. In the second and fourth quarters, the Raptors did have some runs. The second quarter specifically, where the Celtics did go a little bit cold to start off that quarter, but ultimately they were able to prevail and get the big time victory, coming up clutch and stopping those Raptors late game runs. And similar to how the Celtics wore their headbands in tonight's contest to get the victory, I decided to wear my headband as well and represent the team as a squad. It's not white like their headbands were tonight, unfortunately, but it is showing a good cause with repping this Celtics team. But let's look at the stats. As like I mentioned, Torrey Craig got his first start tonight for the Celtics, and even though he played at center, he necessarily didn't, as Jayson Tatum mainly did. And for Craig tonight, we saw him obviously shoot 2 for 7 from the field, not the greatest. Play some solid defense, get some rebounds with 3 rebounds, and miss a lot of three-point opportunities, but a lot of wide open point three opportunities. And it's okay for Craig to have these type of, games where he's kind of going through the stretches. But if he were able to hit even, 2 or 3 of those threes, it would have definitely benefited him and the Celtics, getting him to 10 or 13 points comparative to his 4 points, which have been very, very solid night for Torrey Craig. So ultimately, I'm not really mad at him for missing those opportunities as the Celtics still won. We got to see Sam Hauser step up into this starting lineup, as well as, Craig would have been able to kind of produce that type of game like Sam Hauser usually does when he steps up if he made those threes. And Hauser did that tonight. 4 for 6 from the field, 2 for 4 from three-point range, 10 points and a plus 12. But not only did Sam Hauser do that, but Sam Hauser did more than just score for the Celtics team tonight, as he scored inside. He played some solid defense as well, and he was chasing guys down, trying to get blocks, really giving out the hustle tonight, and why I called him Hustle Hauser in this hashtag. But really, really deserving game for Sam Hauser tonight. We saw Derrick White absolutely erupt in the fourth quarter once again. 7 for 15 from the field, 6 for 11 from three-point range. And we all know Derrick White has this clutch gene. He's had it since last season, and he went through that dry spell for the beginning of this 2025 half of this year in January, but now has really woken up and has arisen from that. And Derrick White has been really, really helpful in the fourth quarter, with Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown needing a guy to just catch and shoot and deliver the dagger when they need it most. In the fourth quarter, the Raptors were going on 10-0 runs, 15-0 runs, and the Celtics, or 15-2 runs. The Celtics were able to combat that with Derrick White hitting some big shots to get them realistically back in rhythm and to keep them in motion with this game. And noticing on off Derrick White, obviously Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, those are the guys that are getting the ball. Those are the guys that are playmaking with him. Tatum, 11 assists tonight, and Tatum had 9 assists in the uh, total, 9 assists at halftime, which was a season high, but not just that, a career high for Jayson Tatum at halftime, courtesy of Justin Turpin. But once again, Jayson Tatum, 11 assists, really distributing that rock, a plus 20 for the Celtics tonight. 6 rebounds, 3 for 12 from three-point range, so a little bit struggled there ultimately tonight, but 7 for 18 from the field, and was able to really set up this Celtics team and once again just be that guy when it needed most. And some of those threes he hit were really clutch as well for the Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown, which we'll get into in a little bit later as well, as discussing his injury, did not play for a majority of the third quarter, but still was very effective for the Celtics team as a defender. Total of 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 24 points, 10 for 18 from the field from Jaylen Brown. Another great game for him. Baylor Shireman make one shot, and that one shot was really cool to see him fall down. Kata had some foul trouble early on, but did get a nice, inbounds play that was to a nice lob driven up by Joe at the end of the game, which really sealed the deal for the Celtics, which was nice to see. JD and Jordan Walsh got some action as well. JD Davidson didn't really do that much, unfortunately, for the Celtics. Jordan Walsh brought some high-end energy early on in the first quarter, but then was yet to be seen for the Celtics for the rest of this game. And Peyton Pritchard, 4 for 12 from three-point range, but 5 for 17. But not just that, 2 offensive rebounds, with one of them coming up late at the end of the game. Just absolutely clutch. And which I said, Peyton Pritchard's offensive rebound machine, because he is absolutely that guy in doing it. 7 total rebounds from a guy that is 6 foot is just crazy to see. 2 assists, 2 steals, 20 points, a +4. Once again, having another fantastic performance here following his one just a couple nights ago when they took on the Sixers and the Knicks. And Pritchard is putting himself obviously into that category for Sixth Man of the Year, which I think he desperately deserves. And he is going to be in that conversation till the end of the season as well. But before we sign off and before we get out of here, we got to talk about Jaylen Brown. As Brown, even though he did play pretty solid, did not play for much of the third quarter, as he was out on the floor for the fourth. But from Jared Weiss, we could see that Joe Mazzulla said that he took Jaylen Brown out for the final minutes because he was hobbling due to some leg tweaks that he suffered during the game. And we saw that Jaylen Brown collided knee to knee with a player in the third quarter. He was then sat out for the third quarter, then was brought back in for the fourth, played a little bit, and then was taken out once again late in the game. I think that's smart by Joe Mazzulla to obviously do that, not obviously injure Jaylen Brown or make him get more injured in the game that he doesn't need to. And he also said that he found out about Kristaps Porziņģis being sick a minute before the game, saying he wasn't feeling well and he wanted to make sure that he was ready for tomorrow. So some smart maneuvers by the Celtics, obviously playing against a Raptors team tonight, one that's towards the bottom half of the Eastern Conference, doesn't have Brandon Ingram, one of the new trade players. They can have a night where guys like Jrue Holiday, Al Horford, Luke Cornett take off this extra rest to really gear up for their game tomorrow versus the Detroit Pistons, because once again, they're in a back-to-back. We know Al Horford's not going to play in that, so saving him versus the better team in Detroit, an actual playoff team at this point, I think is very key for the Boston Celtics, because this Detroit team, once again, is hungry. They're on a good winning streak, and they're going to be looking to claw against this Celtics team and really try to show one of the top teams and defending Eastern Conference champions and NBA championships who's boss and who's kind of one of these new teams kind of coming up. So I do expect them to bring some firepower, and I expect the Celtics to combat with their best lineups. That's why they saved Kristaps Porziņģis for tomorrow. Rather him sit out tonight if he is going to be feeling a little bit sick. Bring him in tomorrow. Bring in Al Horford. Bring in Luke Cornett if they can. Have these other guys be ready to go. Maybe no Jaylen Brown, depending on how his leg injury is, but we'll have some updates regarding that as well. And like I said, we'll be live tomorrow before the game at 6 p.m. Eastern, going over everything Boston Celtics, answering all questions revolving around the team as well. So if you want to make sure you stay up to date on everything revolving around the Celtics team with the injury updates like that, that is where you'll probably find out the information, if not in video form. But like I said, absolute fantastic performance from the Boston Celtics tonight. We got to see Jayson Tatum absolutely dominate, Derrick White deliver from three-point range, not to mention as well for Derrick White, absolutely insane on the block party. I completely forgot to mention that. 2 blocks, 3 steals, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, absolute masterclass from your boy Derrick White tonight. Once again, just providing himself as Mr. Clutch for the Celtics in the fourth quarter. When it really does matter, he does come through and shine for this squad. And I just love to see what we get to see. That little spin move in that fourth quarter with that little floater was just Gets me going every single time. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode here on Celtics Digest, where we broke down this fantastic win that the Celtics just received. And now, obviously, gearing up going into March, this team's looking very dominant. And all those question marks coming out in December and January, just a little over a month ago, are quickly being erased. But I want to know your guys' thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section, how you guys feel about this team. And I'll catch you guys in the stream next video, whenever I see you next on here on Celtics Digest. Thank you guys so much once again. Peace out and have a great rest of your night. Go Boston Celtics.